Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 84 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm here with Nick, Joey, and Jackson. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great.
What's up, fellas? What's up, everybody? NBA is back.
It's back.
Yes, sir. As we release this episode, games are coming back tonight. Can't wait. We're going to talk more about those upcoming games in a little bit. We've got a lot to go over today. We unfortunately weren't able to do an episode last Friday, but now we've got a lot more news to talk about. Lots of stuff that just occurred right now before we started recording the podcast. We've got PERTL to do first. We've got a bunch of rookie extensions to talk about, extensions themselves. The NBA G League is going to experiment some new NBA rules, so we're going to get into that. And we have our final 5 key questions going into the season, so a lot to get into. Very excited to get started with PERTL. Now, this is the second episode that we are doing this. Last episode, it took us 4 guesses to get Trey Lyles. So, again, play along with us at home if you want. We're definitely gonna try to beat 4. Joey, you do the honors. Who's the first player that we should guess for this one?
All right, it's not going to be George Niang. I was about to guess him, and then Miles called me out on it right in the pre-pod lobby right before we came on, and I lost it. But I'm going to choose Santi Aldama.
Oh, nice.
Santi Aldama. All right, here we go.
We're going to start off with him.
All right, that's
got the age.
So we know he's an Eastern Conference forward that played for the Grizzlies.
Let's go.
Let's
Eastern
see.
Conference forward that played for the Grizzlies.
So he's a forward that's 6'9", or he's probably between 6'5" or 6'9".
He's young too. Oh, is it Kenneth Lofton? It is Kenneth Lofton.
Oh, nice,
Book it.
Jackson.
Kenneth Lofton?
Oh,
That's a good guess.
Oh, that's a good guess.
No.
East forward, too young, too high of a number. Younger. She's smaller than 67 or 6'7".
And the highlight thing for the height, it goes when you're within like 2 inches. So this guy is 6. He's a short guy for a forward. In the Eastern Conference,
really
a short forward in the East.
we know he's not in the Central Division either.
How old? Santi Aldama's how old?
23.
23. Santi. Okay. I'm gonna be looking up NBA teams.
What about David Roddy?
David
Roddy's on
Roddy.
I don't know
Atlanta,
where
right?
he's at now.
Isn't he on the Suns?
I thought he was on Atlanta.
Is he?
No,
Dude.
don't guess it. Don't guess it.
Okay, we won't guess him.
Or
He
could
is
be
on
in the
Atlanta.
Wizards.
He is on Atlanta.
Oh, he is in Atlanta.
Oh my
It
God,
might
And he is
smart.
23, and he is 6'4".
It's David Roddy.
think David
No
Roddy.
way.
Kenneth Lofton and David Roddy are 2 solid answers to where we're at.
There we go.
There it is.
There we go. David Roddy.
Dude, Jackson does kill it on here. I can't even lie.
Jackson, you are a PERTL god.
2
PERTL
for
God.
2. That was
I
a good
remember went to
first.
Atlanta. I was like, "Is it no way, dude? No way."
And we got it in less than 4 guesses.
Yeah, we
Less
got
than
it
4
again.
guesses.
Which
Dang.
means next time we'll have to try to get it in 2.
I guess. Yeah, no. I think we should set a par. Like, par for the course is going to be 3. If we
Yes.
bogey or birdie, that's good. That'd be good or
I
bad.
like that.
I like
that's
that
good.
as well.
Par's 3.
We're
I'll
shooting
take that.
+1 right now, then.
So we're currently
+1.
1-1 then in that sense right now. So we'll take it. Definitely take it. Now
Actually, well, hold on.
yeah.
Wouldn't we be 0-1-1?
0-1-1.
Yeah, because we got it in 4 the first time, which would be
That's
a
an L.
So that's a
Then we got it in
+1.
3. Okay.
And then we got it 3, so that's a 0. So
Next
we're
time we'll get it. We'll get a dub.
we're
Yeah.
+1 right now.
I'm actually on a roll with this. Holy crap!
Yeah, 2 for 2. Good job, Goglin.
Hey, Aldama was a good guess. We got the age. We got a lot of answers off that first one.
That was a good guess.
That was very, very good. Before we get into the extensions now, we got to give a congratulations to Lonzo Ball for making his return on the court. His first game in 2.5 years, and he's looked great over the first couple of preseason games that he's played there for Chicago, double-figure scoring. The jumper looks nice. He's, doing his thing, moving off the ball very well these first 2 games. It's just great to see him back on the floor because I honestly thought his career was over. I mean, two and a half years without him playing. We thought he wasn't going to play again. For him to come back and still look pretty good, although it is preseason, it's just great to have him back on the floor.
Yeah, I've talked about Lonzo and LaMelo on here before, and how, like, their whole entire lives were pretty much under the microscope from the time they were like 14, 15 at Chino Hills and stuff. And just like to see their entire journey, you really want the best for them. Like, you want it to happen for them because you've seen how much work and stuff they put in. So from that side of things, it is very cool to see him back. And it's even better that, the first 2 threes went in and he can get into the flow a little bit. And like, Chicago doesn't have a great roster, but they have some solid pieces that, if he's been sidelined, watching guys like guys who have been there for a couple of years, have been watching them from the sidelines, kind of work his way into the mix this year, hopefully.
It's so
seamlessly.
Nice.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's so nice to see him back. It really is. Dude is such a good playmaker that any team would want him. Even if he moves out from Chicago or anything like that, or if he could be used for trade bait eventually, because Chicago probably should want to rebuild, and there's a lot of contending teams that would love Lonzo Ball as one of their point guards.
Yeah, you saying that kind of reminds me of I'm going to bring up a football reference, but kind of Nick Chubb right now. We're all Browns. I mean, we all know the Browns, and everyone's kind of saying, hey, maybe they should trade Nick Chubb. Because it's what's best for him and it's what's best for the team right now. But who knows? Maybe he wants to stay in Chicago because they believed in him. They gave him the contract. So who knows?
I would love that too.
Yeah, I mean, people have talked, like, even people around the league have talked highly on him. I mean, I'm not as surprised that he's kind of coming back and hooping, like hooping, like playing really well. Because like we've seen Paul George in interviews when asked who the most talented player at every position is, he said Lonzo at point guard many times in the past. And, like, Paul George is no slouch in the NBA. He's someone who knows what he's talking about. He's someone who knows a lot about basketball and the game. And
coming back from severe injuries as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
he knows.
Like,
I mean, it's like riding a bike, sort of. Like, once you feel good, you can kind of just get back into the flow. Like, you've done it your entire life.
Yeah, him coming back does suck for Derek White, though, because Derek White's no longer the best shot-blocking point guard in the league anymore.
Lonzo is an extremely good defender, too.
Yeah, he was. I'm excited to see how he'll actually end up playing. But this year, I think it's a great situation for him. He's on the last year of his contract in Chicago. And he's going to be able to play for a team that's not going to have any pressure. He's going to just be able to come back and get, his feet wet back in the NBA. And really just have a full leash to kind of get his feet wet back. And then if his value goes up in the summer, then maybe he can go to a new team and definitely help. Because Lonzo, I mean, the improvement that he's made from when he first came into the league as a defender, as a three-point shooter, he's one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. Like, we saw the jump shot there. It looks smooth and nice now. Definitely did not look like that already 7 years ago when he first came in the league. It's unbelievable.
Broken that jumper was. I remember it was getting compared to Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, if any of you youngins can remember how broken that jumper was.
We know what Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Yeah, you look at the numbers, like the progression. He went from 30%, 30 to 37 a couple of years later, and then that 35 games with Chicago. He was shooting 42% from three on 7 takes per game, which is just really good. And the Bulls were a very good team when he was healthy. It's kind of tailed off, and that kind of has screwed up their whole plan the last couple of seasons.
No, I mean, he's definitely going to have a good opportunity to prove himself.
Yeah,
that's all you can really ask for after coming back from something like he did.
Yeah, exactly. So hoping the best for Lonzo. Congratulations for getting back on the court. Excited to see how he plays this season. Now let's get into some extension news. We had a lot of rookie scale extensions last night. Because last night is the deadline for all the 2021 rookies to sign their rookie scale extension contracts. We have 8 of these that were signed yesterday. So I'll go through in order. We'll definitely stop and talk about a few of them here. There are definitely some big names out there that I know our boy Jackson can't wait to talk about. So let's start with the list. So the first one that was announced, Moses Moody for Golden State signed 3 years, $39 million. He's looked really good in the preseason at Golden State. We talked about before, maybe last episode, how that starting shooting guard position is kind of up for grabs, and everyone that is, up for taking that position has looked really good in the preseason. Golden State went 6-0 in the preseason, the only really undefeated team. Not that you take that much into preseason, but that's.
But
still
you guys all got him at the 12-13 seed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we'll see.
Nick might be onto something.
We'll see. Preseason is
I don't
preseason.
think my pick for them at all. They can.
Any chance I get to throw you guys under the bus,
When Golden State finishes 13th, we'll be back.
Yeah, true. Then I'll be
back.
the one.
Now next up, or I guess I'll go with the other kind of low name guy, Jaden Hardy for the Mavericks, 3 years, $18 million. Guy that could definitely have some opportunity, did in the playoffs on that finals run to score a little bit, has looked pretty decent for them.
Bucket, dude. He's a bucket getter.
Yeah,
all
he definitely is.
Solid depth piece just to keep.
He's like a better defending Cam Thomas, honestly.
Yeah.
Definitely
a shifty guy. I mean, he's got Kyrie and Luka to learn from. These, now going into his third season in the league. Let's see. Next guy, Washington Wizards forward Corey Kispert, 4 years, $54 million. This is a very good value contract. This is a guy that I think could help a lot of contending teams out there. He's one of the few bright spots there in Washington. So I think definitely good they could get him up on that. What, Jackson?
I mean, I watched almost every Wizards game last year because I hate my life. And yeah, Corey Kispert is a bucket, dude. He reminds me of a young Dante DiVincenzo almost. Just a guy who goes out there and they trust him to just shoot the rock.
Reminds me of a young Wally Zerbiak.
A young Jackson God.
Anybody knows that one. Miami, Minnesota, Cavs legend.
Cavs legend. He's a very good cutter too at the basket. He's good at driving it.
Yeah.
He's a very smart basketball player. Got a lot of good IQ.
For sure.
So 4 year, $54 million, definitely good value.
He's part of that. He's part of that Gonzaga system that came into the league that just
dominated.
I mean, Drew Timmy's not really a player in the NBA anymore, but he was another guy who was
Jalen Suggs.
Yeah, Jalen Suggs, Chet. I mean, there's a lot of those Gonzaga guys that just play really well as well. So, and he's in that mold too.
Well, speaking of Jalen Suggs, let's go to him. He got the second most amount of money yesterday, getting a 5 year, $150.5 million extension with the Orlando Magic.
And this is just coming off of them signing Franz Wagner to a big deal too. Money well spent though. Jalen Suggs is a dog. I know at least I do, but I think all of us have talked very highly and think he's only going to get better, especially on the offensive end because he's already an elite defender.
He's going to average 20 plus this year, probably 22. Book it.
Ooh.
22. If he can give him 15 or 16, that's a W.
Nope.
I was like 15 to 20 is huge.
Yeah. 15 would be a dub because last year, 12? I think he put up 12 points per game. And it was his really good breakout year as far as shooting the ball goes. So we'll see if that was real or if that was a fluke. Because that is another thing too you get with these 1 year guys. Because we have really only seen 1 year of Jalen Suggs playing, very well. Same thing for another guy that got $150 million for 5 years, Jalen Johnson for the Atlanta Hawks, but makes a lot of sense. I don't think that will be a fluke at all. I mean, he's got the second option in Atlanta. He's going to have a ton of opportunity to show what he can do.
2 Jalen's that are going to average 20 plus. Book it right now.
Let's go to a third one then. Let's go to Jalen Green. Well, actually, we cover both Houston Rockets. Jalen Green for 3 years, $106 million, has a player option on the second one. A very unique rookie extension.
Great extension.
Haven't seen a deal like this really before for a rookie scale deal to be 2 years plus a player option. And then Alperen Şengün, 5 years, $185 million, got the max. Jackson, our Rockets fan, what are your thoughts on both of these both of your Rockets guys getting the
I'm
money.
so glad they didn't give Jalen the max. I'm so glad. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like a prove it rookie extension in a way, because it's shorter term and it's for like less money than the other guys. And I think it's gonna light a fire under Jalen because he's got a bunch of kids to support apparently, according to the media. So I think he's gonna come out and ball, and I have faith that Ime Udoka is going to make it work with these two. I really do. I think he's going to be able to make an offense where it can kind of incorporate some slower pace with some faster pace, if that makes sense.
I was going to say, both of the guys that they just paid, both ballers, and proved it this year, but Jalen Green definitely proved it when Alp was off the floor and almost carried the Rockets to the playoffs.
Here's the thing, regardless of how well those two play together and how well even the Rockets do in the next year, like this season, from just a zoomed out bird's eye view, like from a managerial business perspective, kudos to the Rockets for getting both of these guys locked up and extending their window, because you obviously couldn't give them both the max. So you picked your guy, you picked LP, you're going to give him the max, and you go to Jalen and you say, hey, we can't give you the max, but what we can do is we're going to give you a player option. And apparently that was good enough for Jalen to accept, and that's great news for the Rockets. So just really good job from their team.
Very well done by the front office. I agree.
Yeah, front office, yeah.
And very well done with the Jalen Green contract specifically because, or I guess both of these contracts, because the Rockets do not have any bad contracts on their books right now. So we saw this summer, they are willing to go big name hunting in the future. So if Jalen Green was potentially a piece to be moved, he would be a highly valued player on the market if the Rockets wanted to go for that veteran piece to kind of bring in there to kind of accelerate their timetable. But just great job by the Rockets. I was even talking with some guys over here about, just the Rockets and the rebuild. I was like, man, the Rockets have done this rebuild about as well as they could have done.
Too.
Very quick as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, when we started the pod last year, a little over a year ago, I mean, the Rockets were pretty much like a laughing stock in this panel here. Like, we were just picking on Jackson for liking a bad team, and now they're pretty legit.
Yeah. And now here we are. We're like, dude, they're like a year out of the playoffs. Like, they're here. They're here.
Yeah,
well, they could be in it this year.
They're going to be in it this year, and they're going to win the finals next year.
Yeah. Definitely. Whoa. Oh my goodness gracious! That does actually remind me, though. I don't know how I didn't realize this before we started recording, but with this releasing on October 22nd, it has now been officially 1 year since we started. This is the 1 year anniversary episode.
I appreciate every single one of you gentlemen. It has been a pleasure doing this for a year. It's so much fun getting together with you guys twice a week and recording and just talking basketball with the guys. It's nothing better than this, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's only going to get better too. I think we've learned a lot of stuff over this year. Very excited to keep on going, especially with some things that we have planned for the season. I'll kind of get into that at the end of this episode, but it's going to be a very special year this season. I just can't wait to get it all started. And this for me personally, this has always been just a nice release for me. It's always a fun time to get on with you guys and talk basketball. I'm happy that the season's getting back and we can finally have some games to talk about too.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Let's see. All right, final extension before we move on over here. Trey Murphy of the Pelicans for 4 years, $112 million. That was the first one that was signed yesterday. As we've got, let's see.
Jackson is getting currently mauled by his dog.
Oh my goodness!
I'm watching my aunt's dogs this week, so we could see a couple new guests.
couple new guests. But no, Trey Murphy extension for the Pelicans. He is going to be injured a little bit to start the season, kind of like he was last year, but such a talented player. I think he has a super bright future in the league. Really, what this means to me for the Pelicans, this is the last dance for Brandon Ingram, man. we knew it was gonna come. And this is probably going to be the last year for Brandon Ingram in New Orleans because 112 million, you're going to have to find a way to start Trey Murphy eventually, and moving Ingram is going to be the way to do that.
That is the top priority for David Griffin and the Pelicans.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long is Murphy
stole the catchphrase.
Trey, how long will Trey Murphy be out?
You're the one who manages him for your fantasy draft. Why don't you be a good manager and know your players' information?
It's on my IR. Chill, will ya?
That is a very good point. Let's see. Trey Murphy does not say, according to let's see. Questionable for opening night. So actually he might be back. He hamstring injury. He just hasn't played really that much in the preseason. But that's it for the rookie scale extensions there. Definitely good to see all those guys get extensions, get their first big payday in the league. Always special to see that happen.
Definitely.
And then non-rookie extension, we have Nuggets forward Aaron Gordon signing a 4-year, $133 million extension. Denver is paying their players, man. They are definitely paying their players. They're one of the more expensive teams in the league.
They're making their bed. I just don't know how comfortable it is when they lay in it. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're doing right by your players that helped you bring a ship. I get it, but you might
there's
want
no
to
reason to
upgrade a couple positions.
But at the same time, there's still no reason to have poor speculation. Like, they were the 3 seed last year, and they won the title the year before that, and they made it. They were half away from being in the conference finals again last year. So, I mean, until everything blows up, there's really no reason to be hitting the panic button in Denver.
True.
But
yeah, I agree.
It's just kind of like inching towards that, and we're talking about it. So that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, but I think it definitely it makes sense. I mean, when you have a core 4 like the Nuggets do have, probably the most elite core 4, one of the more elite core 4s in the league, got to do it. Better to lock them all up.
Yep.
Nice.
Boston.
Like the Cavs did this offseason.
Yeah. All right, so that is all the extensions. Now, let's talk about the NBA G League a little bit. We don't really talk in depth with it that much throughout the season, but every single year, the G League is kind of the place where the NBA tries to experiment with some rules that they're kind of throwing around. And there are a lot of intriguing ones on here. So we're going to go through them. I have them pulled up right here, and we're going to talk about them. So first, the end of period heaves. There are always games and always the end of quarters where players do not want to, chuck up a half court shot at the end because it'll mess up their individual percentages. But, when you make the shot, it's still 3 points, and that could be a huge difference at the end of the game. So the NBA is thinking about not counting that as an individual miss for the player. It would just be a miss for the team itself, and it would only count towards the player's stats if they make the shot. Joey, what do you think about this?
I guess I don't mind it, but what players are worried you should not be worried that heavily about your stats. If I'm a coach and I see you holding onto the ball at the end of a quarter or half or something and not chucking that ball just because you don't want your stats to go down, I'm benching you for the rest of the game, dude. Just throw it up there. Why not?
You'd be surprised. I mean, it happens once or twice a game where a guy will just hold it.
Oh, I hate that. Just chuck it.
You know what I call this rule? The 2K My Player rule.
Yep.
Yes.
People have been playing My Player for years and have been asking for this. This is definitely welcomed. From that sense. But I mean, in real life, I kind of have a tendency to agree with Joey more, but I don't think it's harmful in any way to not count it as against the player for missing. And I get the argument, and I think it's justifiable, but it's just I don't know, it seems a little soft.
It's very soft in my opinion. It's just about stats. It doesn't change the game at all. It's just going to have people chuck more shots at the end of the period. So I guess it's better because I like that. I love when those half courts go in, but come on, dude.
Well, they got to be behind half court.
Yeah. So the criteria for those of you listening to the podcast, the criteria for this is if the missed half court shot takes place within the final 3 seconds of the first 3 periods of the game, The missed shot must take place from 36 feet beyond, so beyond half court, and the play must originate in the back court. So if it's like in the front court and there's like 5 on the shot clock and the ball gets deflected back out and you got to throw up a shot, that is still going to count as a shot attempt.
Even if it's behind half court.
Correct. So yeah, I think that would just be a very welcomed addition.
It just doesn't matter much.
No, it really doesn't.
It's sad that we have to incentivize guys to like compete.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what makes me mad.
Next up, the expanded coaches challenge. So this is saying each team will now have 2 challenges per game, regardless of any other challenge. You get 2 per game automatically. And the only violations and fouls that cannot be subject to review via a coach's challenge are technical fouls, unsportsmanlike acts, and flagrant fouls, which officials are just going to go review anyway, so it wouldn't take a coach's challenge. This would be awesome. I hope that the NBA does do this.
This one's a good one. This one you should stick.
So just adding a
Awesome.
second challenge in opposition to one.
Yes, and that everything can be reviewed if something is called.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean,
you have all these angles, use them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the rest of these, I'm not the biggest fan of some of these. The target score overtime, first team to get 7 in overtime wins. I don't like that. I like the 5-minute overtime. I still love that a lot.
I agree.
Not a huge fan of the target score type.
Yeah,
thing.
if they're gonna do that, make it 15 or something.
Right. Yeah, make it longer. The 1 free throw rule. What is this? I don't even get what it's saying. I don't think this is going to come over at all. Basically, it's just saying that if you get fouled on a 2-pointer, you can get 1 free throw to make 2, or if you're fouled on a 3, you can get 1 to make 3. That just makes no sense. That defeats the purpose of free throws.
Correct.
14. Okay, we'll skip the 14-second reset. The reset timeout. Now, I'm a huge fan of this. The WNBA has adopted this where teams can have a reset timeout, which is basically just an advance in the fourth quarter. So if you're in the fourth quarter, final 2 minutes, you can use your reset timeout to advance it into the front court, but you're not allowed to huddle up. And the point of this is so the end of the game goes quicker. So it's more smoother at the end. So you're not taking 4 timeouts in the final 2 minutes of a close game with all that stoppage. Teams just take the reset, advance, and you play from there.
I like that.
Would they have the option to go to the bench?
So it would be 1 standard timeout and 1 reset from my understanding of this.
Okay.
And then it says here, if either team does huddle up during that reset, they would get a delay of game.
Interesting.
And
the way I'm thinking about it is like the whole point of advancing the ball is to drop a play near the end of the game. So like you would have to go to the clipboard.
Well, it is kind of, but it's also if there's 1 second left, you don't have to go from the backcourt.
Right.
And then transition take fouls. I think this is just the same rule. This is just saying that they're thinking of making a transition take foul the whole game, including the final 2 minutes, which is not currently the case. I don't think so, because if teams need to foul, that makes no sense.
Final 2 minutes, that's terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't really make
everyone's going to foul. You pass it in the final 30 seconds, they're fouling you right away before you can advance the ball. That's technically in transition.
Right. So of those rules, I really like the reset. I like the heave and the coach's challenge expansion.
I love the coach's challenge. The reset timeout is very interesting, and I kind of like it. Very soft with the heave call, but it doesn't. I guess it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of like the game itself. So like.
Well, it gives more opportunities for half court shots.
Just shoot it anyways.
It just leaves the bad taste.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I understand though why players would not shoot the ball, because for some players, when they're like negotiating contracts, if you're shooting 38% from three instead of 40% from three because of half-court heaves, that could lose you money. That could lose your. So I'm seriously, a lot of teams are like, you got to be shooting that 40%.
Then just pick another person to do the half-court heave. Be like, hey man, I missed 3 half-court heaves. Someone else get a turn. Literally, just choose somebody else. It's a half-court heave. You know who was one of the best half-court heavers? Andre Drummond.
Oh,
that dude has airballed free throws and is one of the best full-court, half-court heavers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say everyone needs a Peyton Pritchard.
Same thing.
Everyone needs their
sub him into the game for the last 5 seconds of each quarter.
That's it. Just to heave it.
That's why I would always during like Warriors games during their like dynasty run. Every time you would get to the end of a quarter in a playoff game, Steve Kerr would be like, "All right, Steph and Clay, come on in for final 3 seconds."
Get it up there.
Because at the end of the day, if it goes in, 3 points does matter. You know, at the end of a game, so you might as well try it.
Bonus, even a momentum shift. If you make it going into halftime, you're down 15. You're going in and make it like, oh, finally something's going right, and then you build off of that.
Yeah,
it's a huge momentum boost.
Yeah. Well, now let's get into our final 5 questions of our 30 key questions. We've been doing this over the last 3.5 weeks, and we have saved 5 of the most difficult, important questions for this final episode heading into the season. So let's get right into this with question number 26. Who will lead the league in scoring? Jackson, you go ahead and get started. Who do you think is going to lead the league in scoring this season?
I think, how I view this, I don't view this as points per game. I view this as like total points. I think it's going to be Shea because he's just durable. And I think he's going to also average probably 32 points while playing majority games.
Joey, what?
I'm just confused.
Because
he's going to lead the league in scoring. Well, I'm not going to go by points per game.
But I mean,
you're going total scoring by total points?
Yeah, Joel Embiid would have led the league in points per game last year, but he didn't score the most points.
Well, he didn't qualify.
But he didn't qualify.
He didn't qualify to score those stats.
That's what I'm saying. So it's who scores the most.
Honestly, it's a fair.
No.
Shea's a really good one. The reason that was just funny.
That was just so weird.
I think wasn't the point. Who was the points leader? I think it might have been Shea last year, but he didn't lead in points per game.
Yeah, I mean that's a solid angle to take.
It's not bad. I mean, Shea is definitely gonna be up there. That's for sure.
A whole nother angle you could take is like who's gonna have the most points responsible for? Who's gonna have the most like PRF, like points and assisted points? I mean, you could even take it from that. Who's gonna lead the league in scoring if you really want to bend the definition of scoring, I guess. You could include PRF, but my guy is Luka, and I think he's going to lead the league in points per game and PRF, points responsible for, because he's going to average double-digit assist numbers on top of a 30-point per night season. So I don't think it's a very difficult one. I think he's pretty much I think there's a pretty big gap between him. The odds for this should be Luka as the favorite, and there should be a significant gap to the next person.
I agree. I got Luka as well.
I also have Luka.
I mean, and it's easy. He led the league in scoring last year, 34 points per game.
I mean,
But yeah, that's Shea is definitely up there.
I looked at it because I think Clay's gonna be a much bigger scoring option than Derrick Jones Jr. was in that starting lineup.
True.
So I think it'll take away from Luka's scoring a little bit. And I think
you say the same thing about the Thunder, though. I mean, they added a couple.
I think Hartenstein's going to add extra points for Shea, if anything, though.
Offensive rebounding,
The only thing going against Shea is I feel like the Thunder in the regular season could be so good that he could sit out a lot of fourth quarters.
I could see that, yeah.
And they won't be so dependent on him to get buckets. Like if someone else is having their night, he's not going to like force the issue.
I also think Chet was also only averaging 17, 18 points a game last year. This is his second. Same with J-Dub. They should be averaging around 20 points a game this year.
Yeah.
Especially Chet going into his second year, he's going to have more shots. I think Shea's going to be number 2 though.
And for those curious, Luka did lead the league in total points as well last season.
Okay. Yes, he did.
I was surprised. He played 5 less games than Shea, who was number 2, and scored 116 more points. Luka was just ridiculous.
That is wild.
Last season in the regular.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, it's a good. Obviously, it's a good pick. It's Luka, but I don't know.
I'm glad you said that, Jackson.
Yeah,
I like that we have different people for this. Are there any lower key guys? Maybe not lower key guys. But
I think Tatum could do it. I think Tatum's hungry. I think Tatum's so hungry this regular season.
I think KD might be able to do it too. He's my sneaky dark horse. He's obviously one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, just unguardable at some points, but he might want to do it again. He might just turn back the clock and be like, "Hey, man, I'm scoring."
I feel like they might hand the reins to Booker a little more, though.
Dude, I love Booker. Booker's going to be the MVP of that team. That's even if KD is a high scorer and bigger than him, I 100% think Booker is still the MVP on that team.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the Suns with Bud in there now, there's going to be so much more ball movement that it's going to be a different guy each night. Whether it's Booker, Beal, Durant, Grayson Allen, if he's on fire.
Tyus Jones?
Tyus Jones. Yeah.
Tyus Jones.
You got to put Giannis in here too.
Got to put Giannis. I think Giannis is going to have a huge season. Get to that later with one of our other questions.
Low key, Trae Young could be another guy who you could maybe sneak in here if you really wanted to.
Yeah, one of those guys that are very, the ball's going to be in their hands. Their team is depending on to score a lot. That's why, honestly, I know it'd be a pretty big jump in scoring. But Anthony Edwards, who averaged 26 last season, is there let's see, what do we think?
Carry Julius Randle now.
What do we think? What do we think the leading scorer in the NBA would be this year? It was 34 last year for Luka. It was 35 with Embiid playing. Do we think 32, 33?
I'm thinking 32.
I'm thinking 32. I'm not seeing Embiid's gonna go down in scoring because he's got Paul George. And he's probably going to play 6 games.
There it is.
And then, Luka, like I said, Clay's going to bring him down a couple. Shea, you guys mentioned, might go down more. Really, I don't know. Could we see Jokic? He's not going to be up there, but he could have. I could see him averaging 30.
We've seen him do 27 before because they are going to need him. Obviously, he's the best player in the league. Steph Curry. I know there's obviously the potential that he could get injured as well. We talked about that potential as well. But
70, so that seemed to be relevant.
Well, that doesn't matter with this. I'm thinking, just leading the league in scoring, I think Steph could average 32. He's done it several times before.
What was Donovan Mitchell averaging last year?
He was 27, 28.
He might be.
Donovan's a good one.
He's probably one that's going to go up as well because I was at that Cavs event earlier too, and even Kenny Atkinson was talking and saying that he's like, we're going to run a much faster pace offense this year. So he's going to at least get a couple more shots in a game.
More points.
I think that'll benefit PG scoring and
Mobley's going to average 20 a game this year.
Stop.
I hope.
Okay, I'll throw out three more just random names out here, and then we can move on to the next question. What if we got a crazy, not to lead the league in scoring, but Cam Thomas in Brooklyn having to put up all the shots?
Of Brooklyn, what about Ben Simmons?
Oh,
lead scoring.
He said he was gonna leave.
Dude, Jordan Poole averages 34 points per game this year. Book it.
No,
because it's much airballing.
But no, in all actuality, Jalen Brunson was up there. He could definitely do it. He was great in the playoffs. He could definitely do it this season. The last guy, What if Ja Morant comes back with a surge?
Nick likes that one.
I think he's a low-key. I think he could be a low-key guy to just score a whole lot of points this season.
Nick said, "I'm listening now."
I would love that.
Nick heard Ja Morant. He's just like,
Ja Morant comes back and averages 32 a night. Media's going to be real quiet.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, question number 27. Who is
going to be the
the
first?
Oh my goodness! Question number 27.
Be the first player to pull out the gun celebration.
Goglin, calm down. Oh my gosh, your face is cherry rockets red again. All right. Question number 27. Who is the best duo in the NBA? There's a lot of different ways you can go with this one. Nick, you start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the only direction to go with this one because it's the two guys who just hanging the banner up tonight and just got should have been co-finals MVPs if you ask me. Tatum and Brown are the best duo in the league.
Fair.
I don't hear any argument.
I can't argue that. They won the championship. KP was injured.
Well,
they have a great team all around them. They have a great coach. They have a great organization. So there's a lot going for them, but they are the two best players, and they played like it.
That's what I was going to say. The argument is they have the best team, and the best team wins the championship, not necessarily the two best players.
But they are the
well, they are very good, and they did play very well last season. So that's not terrible.
My other pick, I'm sure I'm stealing somebody's thunder, would be the only argument I would consider listening to is probably KD and Book.
Why'd you take my pick?
Yeah.
There it is. He said, "I'm sorry if I'm stealing anyone's thunder." Immediately steals Jackson's thunder.
I'm glad it was. Well, if it could have picked anybody, it would have been Jackson.
No, that was literally my only pick.
Okay, so do you think that they're better than Tatum and Brown?
Yep, I fully agree. I fully think that they're better than Tatum and Brown.
I'd agree.
What about on the other end of the floor, like playing defense?
KD plays great defense.
I think they're both very good defenders.
Booker is a good defender.
Defense.
I think the Celtics are Brown and Tatum have the luxury of playing with two of the 3 or 4 best defensive guards in the world and a 7'3" rim protector behind them. I think that definitely helps them a lot. I mean, Booker and Durant, when you get, to those top end players, there aren't that many better defensive players, than Booker and Durant that are at least on the same team.
My picks are
Rudy.
It's old school, but LeBron and AD, they're still there. They're still carrying that Lakers to relevancy every single season.
Listen, if you look at our top 50 players list, they were both in the top 11.
Yeah.
On the same team. I think that automatically they would technically be the best duo looking at that.
I was going to say, if you're looking purely at that, that's why I picked them, just because I'm like, dude, these guys, both of them are arguably top 10, obviously, I don't think so.
I'm going to figure out.
Sometimes you could argue top 5 players, one of them at least, or you could say, but both of them at least around the top 10 players conversation. And if they're in that, dude, I know the rest of the team is trash and that organization is kind of a cluster, but those two are carrying them to a play-in every year.
If this is your first time listening, Joey is an avid Lakers hater. So don't take anything he says about the Lakers that seriously.
Dude,
but I did choose the Lakers for the best duo. I got to give them props.
That is true.
Right, hold on.
I say, what is it, Nick? What is it, Nick?
Okay, so we had Tatum at 5, Brown at 7, AD at 11, and Brown at 12. So technically 5 and 12 is 17, and 11 and 7 is 18. So we had Brown and Tatum collectively as a stronger duo in our rankings.
Okay.
I don't care about duos. KD and Book on top.
But that's the question, Dog. That's literally the question.
Collectively, though, I would
and another point that I will make is that we had 2 more Celtics in the top 50 and 0 Lakers in the top 50. So
that goes with my argument.
Yeah, that was – yeah.
What about Ant and Jaden McDaniels?
It'd be Randall. It'd be Randall.
You mean Ant and
Rudy.
Mike Conley?
No.
And Rudy. So I would probably, for this question, I'd probably go LeBron and AD still too, just because of how great they play together still as well. It's really the surrounding pieces for the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, good players, not all that consistent compared to a lot of other teams around the league. That's why the Lakers are not as successful. But as far as how they play off each other, I go LeBron and AD. But the answer that I put down for this, kind of looking ahead to next season on maybe who will be the best duo this upcoming season.
Is this a prediction?
Yes, this is kind of a prediction here. I've kind of talked about it a little before, but I'm going Dame and Giannis because when you talk about
I'm like
Joey was waiting for the Cavs argument.
I'm like Mobley Mitchell.
But no, Dame and Giannis, as far as playing off of each other, there's not much better out there than Dame and Giannis, and I think that the Bucks are in for a huge season this year.
I have a prediction.
I
have
get
a
that.
prediction. Miles has been setting up this whole podcast to pick one guy as an MVP, and I already know who he's gonna. Yeah,
I do know too. I know too now.
He's drafting in fantasy. He's gonna pick Giannis because he's drafting in fantasy.
We'll see if it's true.
It's 100. Yeah, we can see that smirk on your face. We know exactly who it is.
He's actually number 2 for me. He's actually number 2 for me.
It's Ben Simmons at 1. Oh no!
Oh Goglin, you're crazy. All right, question number 28. Looking ahead to the season here. Most anticipated October game. Of course, the shortest month of the regular season, but there are a ton of great games to look forward to here. So, Joey, you get us started here. What is your most anticipated game this month? Is it a game that's tonight?
It is the first game of the regular season.
Say it.
It is the first game of the season. The Celtics hanging the banner, playing the New York Knicks with Cat and Brunson, no Randall, no Villanova Knicks. This game is the 2 best teams in the East. And since I'm a Cavs fan, I'm in the Eastern Conference. This is obviously the game to watch for me.
Yeah, hopefully they can both lose.
Yeah, literally. Is there a tie?
I think that's going to be a great game. The only reason I would pick a different game is because it's not fully healthy. Like Pingus ain't playing.
Oh yeah, fair.
And so I will go with a game where we have 2 similarly very strong teams at the top of the other conference that are fully healthy to begin the year, and that is hold on, I wrote it down. It's the 29th at 7:30 on ABC, a Western Conference Finals rematch between the Mavericks and the Wolves.
Ooh. That'll be a good one as well.
The new look Wolves as well.
The new look Wolves.
Getting a test against Luka and
dude,
Kyrie.
No defense versus Julius Randle, no defense. Luckily, he has Rudy Gobert to back him up.
Yeah, no, I mean, for it being a Western Conference Finals rematch, those 2 teams do look pretty different going into the season with some additions, some subtractions. So that's definitely one to look forward to. For me, I have a couple I'm really looking forward to. Of course, that Celtics-Knicks game, that was number 1 on my list. But since that's already been said, Thursday night, 10 p.m. on TNT, the 2 best teams in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder visiting the Denver Nuggets to start the season, both of their season openers. I just can't wait to see that matchup because they both tied for the number 1 seed in the West last year. I wanted to see that matchup so badly in the conference finals. We didn't get it, so I'm excited to get it opening night.
Yeah, Denver's going to be rocking, trying to get their get back.
Are they going to be starting Hartenstein and Chet?
Well, he's
Hartenstein's
injured.
out.
Hartenstein's out for about a month.
Oh, so we're going to be getting Chet versus Jokic.
So we'll get Chet versus Jokic. The matchups, I mean, that's just going to be such a great
Shade
game.
versus Jamal.
Sorry. That's barbecue chicken.
It's crazy that the Nuggets just signed all these dudes and like they're kind of teetering a bit as we've talked about, and they open up versus the strongest, second strongest, I guess, NBA team to win the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets. The Thunder are going to be trying to take the Nuggets' throne this season, if we want to say that for sure. So that's just such a great first game. We get the two. I mean, think about that. We get the two best teams in the East on opening night, and then the two best teams in the West on opening night 2 days later. So that's just a great way to start the season. Kudos to the NBA for these great matchups.
Kudos to TNT for hosting, to starting off your last season in this kind of fashion.
Yeah, for sure.
Great primetime matchups.
Another anticipated game. We do have to mention this because I'm sure we're going to talk about this game in our next episode when we're going to be recapping the first game for all these teams. But it is tonight at 10 p.m. Minnesota Timberwolves, Los Angeles Lakers. Do you guys think we are going to see history with LeBron James and Bronny James on the court together on opening night? Do you guys think that we could see that tonight?
100%.
And then Bronny's
if they don't, then Ken Griffey and his son are going to be pretty disappointed because they're going to be courtside.
That's true.
Junior and senior are in attendance for the Bronny and Bronny.
Yeah,
Bronny and Bronny.
Bronny and Bronny.
Bronny. Yeah, man.
Bronny and Bronny.
That's just going to be so incredible when that actually does happen for the first time.
So I've heard a lot about this, and I think it'll be the start of the second quarter. It's kind of like the lowest stakes point of any basketball game is like the start of the second quarter. It's kind of a lull, I guess you could say. So I would expect him to either get subbed in early on in the second quarter or just come out right from the jump in the second quarter.
Yeah, either beginning of second quarter or like the final 3 minutes first quarter, something like that.
Yeah.
And
and
then are we all expecting him to go to the G League after?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he'll ride it out until the G League season starts. I don't think it starts.
Sure, it doesn't start. Right.
That's true. It doesn't start for a few weeks, so he will get action to start the season in blowouts and stuff like that.
I will say he looked good in his last preseason game.
He did.
Yeah, they were down by 60.
They were.
Just saying.
Though, I will say though, everyone, is making jokes about Bronny a little bit because it is something new that we haven't ever seen before. But just for him individually, on a serious note, like, he has been handling all this pressure and everything amazingly, especially considering where he was a year ago. You don't get many one and done guys in college that coming off of significant, injuries off court,
cardiac arrest.
Yeah,
cardiac arrest.
Yeah, literally.
It is cardiac arrest.
Yeah, so for him to be in the NBA even and have this opportunity, it's incredible. So shout out to Bronny. Congratulations.
100%.
Is definitely going to be special. Now, these final two questions, these are the big ones. Question number 29, our final award one, MVP, most valuable player. And I'll start with this one because apparently I've been teasing it. I do think that Giannis is going to have an MVP caliber season. He's going to be ridiculous. He's going to be unbelievable. I think the Bucks are going to be a great regular season team, and Giannis's numbers are going to be ridiculous. But my actual MVP, I've talked about this in previous episodes before. I said Giannis is my number 2 in MVP. My number 1 for MVP, who I actually think is going to win it, is Luka. I think Luka is going to win MVP. I've said it before. He's got so many ridiculous statistical seasons. Last season, basically averaging a 34-point triple-double. It would be so weird to me at the end of his career if he did not have at least one MVP sprinkled in there. I mean, there's a reason he's been the favorite for this award the last few years. I think coming off of a finals appearance, they've improved. I think this is the year where he gets his first MVP.
I wouldn't be mad at that. I really wouldn't. It was kind of I feel like he's fallen in kind of the same thing with what LeBron was when he was young. And it's just, hey, he's got time. And then all of a sudden he wins a couple and then like, oh, voter fatigue. It's like he's won it too much. It's like he's won like only a couple, but he's been the best player for like the last like 7.
Yeah. I don't think that argument works. And I agree with you, Miles. I do think it's going to be Luka because that argument for he's got time doesn't work because he's 25. He's going to his 7th year already. And like he doesn't have one yet in his 7th year, and he's doing things like averaging 34-point triple doubles for an entire regular season. So I do think it is his time, and he is well deserving and should get it this year. The only thing that would derail that is if the Mavericks somehow flop.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, you need to have a very good regular season typically to get this award, even though, you know, for a long time, the winner was basically, all right, best player on the best team gets it. A number 1 seed has not won, or a player on a number 1 seed has not won the MVP since 2020 when Giannis won his second one. We've had a 3rd seed. We've had a 6th seed. We've had a second seed last year, and then another 3rd seed, I believe, in there with Jokic winning 3 of those 4. It usually doesn't happen where the number 1 seed gets MVP, at least in the 2020s, which is counterintuitive to what had been the whole history of the league, or the whole history of the award.
If they finish top 4, he could easily win it. Just top 4.
I remember at the end of the season last year, our argument was between Shea and Joker, and it was whoever was going to get the 1 seed was going to win it. That's what we all kind of were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't end up happening.
Yeah, I didn't kind of go by that.
I did.
I totally did.
I totally did.
I value winning. Sorry.
Well, they also tied. They had the same record.
Tiebreaker,
and Shea did hit the game winner. That was a good argument for Shea in against the Nuggets that year. So, but that was definitely close. I think it's going to be super close again this season. Joey, who's your MVP?
I do love Luka. I would love to see him win it. I truly do. But my pick is Ant Edwards. I had this written out before the trade went down, and I'm more confident in my answer now that the trade has went down. I think he's just going to carry this team to a top seed. Maybe not a 1 seed, but it may be a 2 seed. And if he does that, and to me, Cat is way better than Julius Randle, in my opinion.
Here's your guy,
Anthony
Edwards, who has time. This is your guy who has time. Anthony Edwards,
I know,
quote unquote, has time. The only reason he doesn't have time is because like Vic might win the award a couple years in a row, and that might close him out of it. So, I just think that it's going to be way too hard for Anthony Edwards to leapfrog the 4 guys ahead of him, which are Giannis, Joker, SGA, and Luka. Unless Minnesota just riles off 60 wins and he averages 30 on an efficient clip, but he hasn't really shown the ability to be as efficient as you need to be an MVP.
We'll see. That's why it's a prediction. We'll see. I believe that he's going to carry this team. The time argument, I only brought that up. I don't like that argument because when I was a kid, I hated it. I'm like, LeBron needs to win like every award because he's the best player on the planet.
And now we're here in 2024, and it's been 11 years since he won an MVP.
Literally, and everyone thought he was going to have 10 by this point. I'm like,
that's what you say about every
player.
You
got to give it to him now. You give him his props.
That's what you say about every player. That's just not how it works.
That's just
not how it works. The talent is too good in the league for sure.
That's why I'm saying I'm like, it's going to be one of those years because think about it. One of those years, and don't get me wrong, I love Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose was the youngest MVP winner. He got it over LeBron. And Edwards could get it over Luka, could have a similar situation.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, it's a different argument because LeBron already had MVPs. Luka doesn't have any already in his 7th season. It is past due. In my opinion as well. I agree.
I really think it's going to be SGA or Luka, and that it's going to be close between them. The only way I think someone else wins the award is if Giannis and Joker can be 55-plus win teams when they're not like supposed to be that. Like we've been talking about Denver a lot. Like they're struggling a little bit, and same thing with the Bucks. They're a bit of like a misguided franchise right now at this point where they fired their coach last year and everyone has them as like the 5th seed in the East. So if they exceed expectations and are like the 2 seed, Giannis is averaging 30 points and 12 rebounds and he's going to have a good argument.
That's
why I've got Giannis as my 2 for sure. Because you talk about a guy with something to prove for sure. I think he's definitely up there on that list after back-to-back first-round exits. Even though he was injured, I think he's got a lot to prove, and that's why I also said Dame and Giannis is the best duo. Jackson, who's your MVP?
Mine's SGA. I think he's gonna separate himself from Luka. A, by the seeding of his team, and B, because people are gonna be paying attention a lot to Luka's defense this year, and
That's
I think
true.
it's gonna
That's true.
hinder him a lot. I think in the MVP conversations, whereas it's gonna help Shea a lot, and I think that's why I don't hate the Ant pick. I just think he's gonna have to average 30 plus for that. I could see it. I mean, everyone knows I'm an Ant believer. Ant's one of my favorite non-Rockets players. It's either him or Brunson. So
he's more of a dark horse for me as well. Like I could definitely see Luka, Shea, Joker, Giannis all winning it over Ant Edwards, like easily. Yeah. To me, like, that wouldn't be a shock. I wanted to pick a dark horse for this one because obviously those guys are in the conversation every single year.
Well, it's my job as a member of the podcast to
call me out.
Yep.
Fair. There you go. Thank you.
Based on my season standings predictions, I have a dark horse as well. I think if the Suns finish as the second seed, I think Devin Booker is going to have a really good case because he showed, like I said, with the defense, he showed that he's a great defender. If they're the 2 seed, I think he's going to be the clear top guy on that team. And I think the voters are going to like if they're the 2 seed. I think they're going to kind of that's why I have them finishing. So that's why
forgot. That's wild.
Oh, Booker, if the Suns finish high. No, if the Suns finish high, they should have Booker or even if they're a third seed. I mean,
top 4 seed. Yeah, I agree.
Taking a look at Fox Sports, looking at the favorites for MVP, it is Luka at 1. Well, question for you guys. A guy that we haven't even mentioned in this is the guy who's won 3 of the last 4 MVPs, Nikola Jokic. Is voter fatigue a factor with him, do you guys think, this season? Because if the Nuggets are still really good and he puts up high numbers again, I feel like it'd be hard not to give him another MVP because he's just so good.
His path is more difficult than Luka or Shea, not just for the reason that they haven't won it before, but also because, like you said, well, I guess, for that reason. But I heard a really good argument about this earlier this morning, and they said that it's a very narrative-based award, the MVP. A lot of these awards are. And so the narrative for the upcoming season is set by who gets the award the prior year. Like, that's when the narrative begins to form. So, like, Jokic got it last year, so now this year it's pretty much Luka versus SGA with maybe, like, Giannis mixed in there if he can pull his team out of exceed expectations. I thought that was a really interesting way to look at it.
I get it. It is different because, at least for me, when I think of most valuable, like we talk about winning, my argument for last year between Joker and SGA was whoever gets the 1 seed. He's won, 3 out of 4, right, Miles?
Correct.
Yeah.
1 championship. You're a top seed every year, and you did it once. Not saying it's not an art. It's not super difficult because it obviously incredibly is. But
well, I mean,
I know, and it is a regular season award. I'm just saying that along with voter fatigue, it's like, hey man, we've given this guy the award 3 out of the 4 times. And the 1 year we didn't give it to him, he won the championship.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say, like, MVPs usually don't win the championship that year. I think last one was probably Steph Curry in his first MVP 2015 was the last time an MVP won a championship that year. Doesn't really happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely a tough one. But again, looking at Fox Sports, it has Luka at 1, Jokic 2, Shea, Giannis, and Edwards all makes a lot of sense. Tatum at 6. If the Celtics go out and win 70 games, something crazy,
it's gonna be hard not to put one of those guys on there.
Absolutely. Then Wemby is on this list already. Get out of here, dude.
Hey, well, think about it. If Coach Pop and the Spurs and Wemby and Chris Paul, and they win 45 to 50 games, and Wemby's averaging almost a quadruple double, you kind of have to give it to Wemby.
The problem is that's not going to happen.
I'm saying if.
That's a thing. If we're talking sleepers, Brunson is definitely a sleeper for this, especially if the Knicks are a high seed and Brunson puts up 29 and 6 or 7. That's about what he put up last year on efficient
You know who else is
shooting.
a sleeper?
You.
Joel Embiid, technically.
Ben Simmons.
All right.
Conklin.
All right, let's get to our final question. Question number 30. And it is the big one of them all. Our 2025 NBA Finals predictions. Jackson, you go ahead and start off. You told us about this a little bit before, but let's see if you still believe in your big prediction.
So, what did I say before? I said Magic Suns.
No, you said Knicks Suns.
Good, because that's what I still have. It's going to be Knicks versus Suns in the NBA Finals. Book it. Book it. Put the mortgage on it. Put whatever you want on it. Everyone's going to make some money.
Everybody that is listening and or watching, Goglin is not 21 years of age and cannot gamble, so I would not take his advice.
Also,
what I will say is you can book them. One of them's going to lose in Game 7 of the second round, and one's going to go to the conference finals. Because to Jackson's credit, last year his prediction was the Knicks and the Timberwolves, which was very close to happening.
Was so close.
He's going for another big one now.
Less than any of you fools.
You're under 21. You can't drink either, so that's why I'm confused. Because you got to be drunk to make a prediction like that. And
a year ago to the day, you did also have the Clippers as like the number 1 seed. So that is they aren't all wins. You do have to miss
seed. That's not even that bad.
Everyone else with a brain, I'm guessing, has the Celtics and the Thunder.
Yes,
I do.
So wait, Nick, you're the one who said
Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm the prediction god. Just saying.
You're the PERTL god, not prediction.
You're the prediction god. I'm a god at everything.
But no,
I predicted the cat for Julius trade 5 months prior. Who said the Timberwolves were going to be the 3rd seed last year? Me. Just saying.
We don't need to hear about this garbage again.
My resume speaks for itself.
Okay.
I can't.
Thunder Celtics, though. I am starving for a good NBA Finals matchup. So I'm gonna say it again. If we do not get a Thunder Celtics Finals, again, if they're both healthy, I would be disappointed personally, unless, the Thunder. There is a possibility, I will say, I am extremely high on the Thunder. I would pick the Thunder to win the finals this season because we haven't seen a repeat champion in a while. That'd be like the main reason I would do it. Celtics should be the favorite to win the title, but I would go OKC. But, there is a big possibility. The Thunder are still a super young team, and last year was their super big jump up. There is a possibility where teams kind of figure them out a little bit, and they aren't as dominant as they potentially could be. I just think I'm a huge fan of the Thunder's team, and I think that they're going to be awesome this year, both regular season and playoffs. So that's why I got that as my finals. But over the last couple seasons, we've had some surprises. We've had a Dallas last year. We had Miami 2 years ago. So we already know Jackson has the Knicks and the Suns. For you, Joey and Nick, do you guys have any sleeper NBA Finals teams that we could be looking back, in June, like, man, we didn't think that this would happen?
I have a couple more, actually.
We know you do. You thought of that first one. We know you have like every single possible combination. Next one you're going to say is like Charlotte and like New Orleans or something like that.
For me, it would be the top 3 in the West, which in my opinion is Denver, Minnesota, and OKC. I think I could see a route for any of them getting there. And then I really only see 2 teams in the East with a chance, and that's New York and Boston. And so any combination of those 5 teams, I could realistically get behind. But I would probably cut it off there.
Well,
I would tend to agree. However, I would still include probably the Mavericks as well.
Yeah, Dallas for sure.
I
And
would probably include the Mavericks out.
Miles is going to say the Bucks.
yes, I am.
She's saying the Bucks. I'm not saying the Bucks.
dude,
I am.
all right, you
I
guys
am
are
saying the
crazy.
Bucks. I am definitely saying the Bucks have a chance
I'm
because again,
definitely saying
This
the
dude-
Bucks, too.
if you
Did a
have the
whole 180 on the Bucks.
I'm saying the Atlanta Hawks.
The Bucks were
Atlanta
old as
Hawks.
dirt all year last year. The Bucks were old as dirt all year last year, Miles, and now they
got
brought
younger.
in Gary Trent and
They got
a
younger.
whole year older. Everyone else on the roster aged a whole year, and you love them now.
You're
They got-
right. They got younger because Chris Middleton's out to start.
they got younger. They don't have to have Jay Crowder playing for them. They don't have to have Patrick Beverly starting for them. They don't need Pat Connaughton to play. They have Dame and Giannis in year two. Year two is always better than year one. And in the playoffs, they have the best player in the conference, and they have a guy that can go for 40 or 50 in any playoff game.
Yeah.
So that
All right,
no
when you
matter
put it
what
like
the
that.
surrounding pieces, they have a shot.
When you put it like that,
Dude, I really think you guys are underselling the Cavs here. I'm sorry. Cavs.
I think conference finals is their ceiling.
I think we can hit the conference
No,
finals.
dude,
But
listen. They got the size.
They do have the
I have
size.
faith, man.
our
I have
depth, though, our bigs are going to get burnt out. Me and my dad were talking about today. They're going to get burnt out. We don't really have any backup big men.
we need a Steven Adams.
That
We
would
do.
be
You're not
honestly be
touching.
nice.
You're not
That'd
touching
be-
mine,
That'd be
man.
very
You're not-
welcome.
But
He's mine.
no, so I would say Eastern Conference, I would Celtics, Knicks, Bucks. I guess I kind of have to say the Sixers because they have the talent, but it's year one for that roster, so I don't think so. But they
You've
would
never
be
seen
the
the
fourth
Sixers.
team in that. Then probably Cavs, Magic, Heat are always good in the
I'd
playoffs.
say the Pistons before I said the Sixers.
Bro. But the West, I would go OKC, Denver. I honestly would be extremely surprised if the Timberwolves made the finals. I would not include them. I would include the Mavericks and the Suns, and that's where I would cut it off.
Okay.
I've
have
got
a
an
backup-
8-team.
I have a backup series prediction, by the way. really
What's your
quick.
backup series prediction?
It's gonna be Orlando against Denver. Those are my two. I have two series predictions.
You heard it here first, people. It's either Phoenix versus
New
the
York?
Knicks,
New York.
or Orlando versus Denver.
And we love the Magic, man. Dude,
Orlando Magic. Orlando
I
Magic.
do.
can't wait. But that is it for our 30-question series. Leave a comment down below with your answers to these questions, like MVP, NBA Finals predictions, who will lead the league in scoring, best duo in the league, game you're looking forward to in October. Well, actually, so Nick, Joey, and Jackson, I said who I think is going to win the finals. Do you guys? What do you guys think?
Thunder.
I have no idea.
I think the
Yeah.
Thunder get their
Between
first
the
banner.
Thunder and the Celtics?
I don't know.
You want me to give one for each series?
No, just do your number one because
God,
Magic
each
Nuggets
combination
is not
I've thought
happening.
of, I have a winner for each one.
All right. For
Nick's
this is
Suns,
tough now.
your two
This is
babies.
tough. Well, where's Timberwolves are in that too.
Well, true.
I just thought of a team. That's
Ooh,
a
what's
dark
yours?
horse. That's a dark horse.
Dude, let Joey say his. I gotta think for a second. This is actually tough.
Okay.
Why have we not mentioned Memphis? Last time they were fully
Because
healthy,
they're
they
not
were a 2
contenders, buddy.
seed.
Because
They
they're
were
not
a 2 seed.
contenders. They're getting bounced in the.
If
Playing
they
good.
if they are healthy, come time and Ja's playing back to where he was, which was a potential MVP candidate back in the day.
Memphis is in that
They got
second
good
tier.
defense. They got decent depth.
So Joey,
They got
let me
great defenders in Jaren Jackson, Marcus Smart.
They do. Memphis would still be tier 2 for me.
Yeah.
The best argument for Memphis is Gigi Jackson here too. That's it.
Okay.
The best argument. Okay.
That's a good take. I was just curious because I just thought of them. I'm like, dude, I have them pretty high this year, but we didn't mention them.
Memphis, yeah.
They got to be at least
All right.
a little bit in the conversation.
But all right, Jackson, let's hear it. Knicks
sorry.
or Suns?
I'd have to, if they played, I'd have to go Knicks. Knicks matchup way better to them. Because I think OG, you got better bench. It's close though. I think it'd be like a 6 or 7 game series. I really do.
Knicks have the defense, but the Suns could have the best players. That would be a fun matchup. We'll have to circle those games on the calendar for the.
That would be a really
season.
fun finals. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that'd be fun. The star power would be crazy.
Imagine Charles Barkley talking all that trash to Spike Lee.
I would honestly I'll throw one more out. I would love to see the Bucks and the Suns, like Giannis versus Book again, but they each have like a co-star now, and Durant and Dame.
Yeah, man.
So it's crazy when I say the Suns are going to be in there, but okay. You're drunk.
Well, I have the Suns very low, as everyone knows. So I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah, that makes it crazier that you said them. I have the Suns as the 2 seed. It makes sense that I would have them in the final.
I only said them because we're talking about them. I don't have the Suns in my purview of finals teams.
Yeah, about wild predictions. But
Dude, it's not a wild prediction. It's a good prediction.
We'll see.
You guys are haters.
We'll see. I included the Suns in my finals wavelength.
They hate us.
Let us know if you guys do as well. We know. Shout out Ben Axelrod. We know how you feel about the Suns.
He hates my pick for that. It's so annoying.
I know. But man, the regular season coming back tonight. Cannot wait for it to begin. And actually, starting tomorrow morning, starting a brand new, I guess, side podcast, if you want to call it, here on Running the Paint. Maybe alongside Jackson, because I know Jackson's a bit of a night owl sometimes. We're going to start the Running the Paint recap, where we're going to try to recap the games that happened that night, post them the next morning for you guys to listen to on your way to school, on your way to class, on your way to work. Excited to get that going so we can cover a lot of different games, a lot of different news stories, headlines, and still have the podcast going up. It's that time of year. Cannot wait to get it started. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
I'm just very excited.
Enjoy opening night. It's going to be a fantastic year.
Place your bets. Jackson,
Year 2, baby. We in it.
Year 2. Let's
Year
go.
2. Let's go. We're ready for it. Again, reminder, tonight on TNT at 7:30, the Celtics raise the banner, get their rings to host the New York Knicks again at 7:30, the 2 top teams in the East. And then the second game, the Minnesota Timberwolves and the LA Lakers. LeBron James playing in another opening night. Interesting stat that I just thought of, though. LeBron James has not won an opening night game since he's been with the Lakers. So we'll see if the streak can get broken here tonight. Regardless, though, we will most likely see history between LeBron and Bronny. Cannot wait for that. And we will all be back here, the 4 of us, to recap, I guess, the first game for every team this coming Friday. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.